Welcome, everybody, to the Kickin' Show, the official podcast of KickingTheTires.net. I'm your show's host, Jerry Jordan. We got co-host Justin Schuoler, and the guy who knows it all, our stat guru extraordinaire, movie star, Zach Catanzareti. I think you are looking kind of suave tonight. What's up with that? Have you been on set?
I just was earlier today. We shot some really exciting stuff, and I'm supposed to be shaved, so it's the first time you guys have seen me shaved, I think.
so you and who are you on set? Can you tell us who you're on set with today?
A couple movie stars and one music star that I think a lot of young girls are probably a big fan of. Probably just keep it at that.
Young girls that are fans of,
Yeah.
Katy Perry?
Justin Bieber?
No.
Taylor Swift?
No.
Taylor Swift?
You're pretty close, but yeah.
If it's Taylor Swift, I'm jealous. If it's Taylor Swift, I'm jealous.
If it's
okay,
Taylor Swift, my brother is going to kill you.
Yeah. Okay. You can hang out with Leonardo DiCaprio. You can hang out, but if you hanging out with Taylor Swift, that's a whole different level of coolness, Zach.
She's not here. I'll let you know if she pops up somewhere.
I was saying, didn't Taylor Swift have some sort of racing team or something like that?
I thought she sponsored a car. I know Kim Kardashian did.
Oh, okay.
It was like list that one year. It was like the weirdest sponsorship.
Well, that's, I guess we can segue if they're going to start sponsoring cars, we can talk about them on the show. But
I just like
giving you a hard time because look, you really are, you truly are. People can go IMDb you and see that Zach Catanzareti is a legit movie star, and he's on our show.
Yep. And he's available for autographs whenever. Just DM us.
We can get you the.
Let me know.
He will autograph Kicking the Tires memorabilia and be happy. We'll be happy to send it out to you because it's worth a hell of a lot more from him than it is from me. And I started the company.
Anyway, breaking news before we get into this show. But Kansas Speedway has officially been named the Bushy McBush Race 400 at Kansas Speedway.
Is that an ode to Kurt and Kyle, or is that an ode to Busch beer?
Maybe both, but either way, I think this is just I think we've officially found out what happens when a redneck has enough money to sponsor a race and gets to name the race.
I need to call Kurt and Kyle and ask them if they had anything to do with this, because the Bushy McBush sounds awful fishy to me.
Yeah, it was a whole running thing with Busch beer and everything like that. So yeah, I don't know if Kurt and Kyle had a little leg in there, but that is the official name of the race. It's kind of been something big a little bit here and there where they've posted little spoilers, or not spoilers, but they've little hints at it here and there, and well, that's the name of the race now.
Bushy McBush 400 at Kansas Speedway. Summer Bedgood, our resident Kansas managing editor, will be happy to join them there and bring us all the news. So I was hoping she could join us on the podcast tonight, but we will have her give us the updates from the track. Speaking of the track, Zach, I know you were on the set, but did you get to do anything in the NASCAR world today or this week? I know there was a test at Richmond with the next gen car. Can you talk about that?
Yeah. I've always been really interested to keep up with how this car has been evolving over the last year or so. Obviously, it was supposed to run this or next. Was it supposed to run this year?
Supposed to run this year, and they had to push it back to next year.
Pushed it to next year because of Corona, and they were way behind on tests. So now they're starting to kind of pick it up. And today Bubba Wallace was out at Richmond Raceway testing that next gen car. And from my understanding, tires were kind of the main point of not concern, but like the main point of focus on what they wanted to focus on. A good place to do it. The car hasn't run too much on short tracks before. I believe it's run there once before, and it'll be running at Martinsville later this month. No better place to really test your tires other than a short track. Just the overall lap times that they're running there. I was watching some video of Bubba today, and I guess it's kind of hard to tell without looking at the stopwatch, but I mean, it definitely looked like he was accelerating and getting up off the corners a little quicker than the cars usually do nowadays. So, I mean, yeah, you're going to learn a lot on a short track that you probably wouldn't learn at, say, a Charlotte or, tracks like that are more high speed. I think once you get down to those lower corners and those smaller speed corners, that's where you can make the most up. So I think it's good for Bubba. It's good for that team. We've talked about guys like Truex and Kurt Busch and these guys who have a ton of experience. They've driven Gen 7 cars, 6, 5, 4, 3. I mean, they've been around for decades. So to get someone like him and a brand new team in 2311, I think it's going to kind of help people like that. And it's good to see that variety.
I think the next gen car is actually going to, at least for a little while, level the playing field, because it's kind of like when we came to this car. Some drivers didn't like it, didn't understand it, how it drove, whatever. Jimmy Johnson, I think, was one of those who could never really get a good feel for this particular model that we're in. And I think you're going to see some of the mid-tier teams start stepping up. I don't know what it'll do to the lower tier teams. They say it's going to help them too, but I given what I've seen this year so far with the regular Cup Series, with the first-time winners and second-time winners and things like that, I'm thinking if we have a new car in the mix, it's gonna further level that playing field, and you might get deeper into the field, because a lot of the things that I hear from fans are, why do the same guys win every week? Well, they're pretty damn good for one, but that's why they win most of the time. But they have more money, they have more engineers, they have more time and more people to study the car and all that. But this will be a clean slate for the most part next year, other than the guys who got to test the car. And we're going to have some tests where they're later in the year, from what I've been told from NASCAR, where everybody's on the track with a next gen car. That's going to happen. So that'll be very interesting to see how they play that out. But I'm looking forward to next year for more than one reason. One, hopefully we'll have COVID in our rearview mirror completely, and they'll let us back in the track doing what we do best, and that's talking to drivers and crews in the garage and stuff. We'll see. And but all the new stuff that's happening, with this year, we had the road courses, we added COTA. I think NASCAR is going in the right direction on a lot of that type of stuff, and good to hear that Bubba handled the car pretty well at Richmond.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see who's next going to be in the car, going to be the next team to test it. But I've also wondered in the back of my mind, when are they going to have multiple of those cars out there? I think the most that they've had are like 2 or maybe 3.
That's it. They only have 2 cars.
Okay, so the 3
one was the car that NASCAR built, and then one was the top secret car that nobody knew about except for Kicking the Tires, aka me, and got the secret photos at Daytona that was built by Action Express Racing and stolen by websites and podcasts and everything around the world. But
yeah, I want to see what.
I'm not bitter at all.
No, not at all. I want to see.
And actually, me and Eric have made up. We're good. So there were other people other than Eric that did it too. So, but
I really do want to see how that car is going to react to having multiple of those out. So I'd like to see if they are planning a test with 6 or 8 or maybe even 10 of those cars out on one of these short tracks. My understanding is everybody's going to get to drive the car. They're supposed to have a full test towards the end of the year, is what I was told. Oh, cool. That's great.
Yeah, that's the way I understand it. If my interpretation is wrong, then I heard that information incorrectly. But my understanding is there will be a what do they call it? All-encompassing test.
Heck, just do an exhibition race.
Yeah, there you go.
Have a sponsor. Put a sponsor on it. Make it an exhibition race, and
I went to a test session and a race broke out.
Exactly. just boom. Have a sponsor. Slap a sticker on there. $50,000 to the winner, and everyone else goes home with nothing.
Well, have you ever been to a test? Have you ever seen a test?
I have not. No.
There are no sponsor logos generally on the cars, or the cars are blacked out and the sponsors are muted and stuff like that. That was back when we actually did test. Yeah. Only the broke teams showed up with sponsors on their cars because they were actually using cars that weren't built for the test.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So,
Well, it'll be interesting, that's for sure.
Of course, Martin Truex Jr. when he was driving for Furniture Row, he didn't have to worry about having a blacked out muted car because their car was already blacked and muted out. But
Yeah.
but he didn't really much care, and so because they were fast. And speaking of fast, he was also fast this weekend out at Phoenix. Put a pretty good show on, getting the win out there and being the first guy who is not kind of a first time, second time winner in the Cup Series to go there and get the checkered flag.
And think of it this way too. We went into the 5th race of the season before a former NASCAR champion finally got to victory lane.
That says a lot about Kevin Harvick sucking really bad right now.
Oh, I got something for that a little bit later on. Trust me.
Well, I've got something because we're going into Atlanta, but I'm going to hold it. But look, 6th or 7th for Harvick. What the hell at Phoenix? Really?
Yeah.
They haven't been that good there the past 2 times.
And it's not only that, but he wasn't even a factor literally all day.
Yeah. So I saw some great racing during the race, but I actually did not think Truex was going to pull it off. I thought Logano was going to get it there for a little while. I think he led the most laps.
Well,
143 laps.
Take a step back. If Larson hadn't gotten 2 speeding penalties on pit road, we would have seen him go back to back.
I will say this. Who picked Larson to win 5 races this year? Who?
You did.
Yeah.
Thank you.
He could have like 3 by now. Honestly,
Exactly.
Like Daytona Roval, he was up front at the 500. I think Homestead, he was really good. He won Vegas, and this was kind of close.
And he kind of, I mean, give him a few more laps, he might have chased down, Logano and Truex and beat him. But again, 2 speeding penalties. They got to get that worked out.
Yep.
But
But
pre-race inspection.
It
wasn't just him, it was Elliott and Byron.
That's what we were talking about before the show, Zach. I said he got a 3rd penalty somewhere, and it was there. You go. That was it. It wasn't 2. It wasn't 3 speeding penalties. It was 2.
I think he passed 145 cars through the weekend. I think that's what the total was. 145 cars.
Jeez.
There are only 40 cars on the track, so he passed all those cars that many times.
Yeah, 38 to be exact. But that's insane. That's literally passing the entire field. What? 3.5 times?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you haven't figured out that Larson's going to be a major factor for the championship at the end of this year, I don't know what races you're watching.
5 wins. 5 wins.
So,
just saying.
But yeah, with going to Stewart-Haas, you were saying, Harvick finished 6th, then Eric Almirola almost getting a top 10. But if you look at the point standings, Harvick's the only one in the top 10. Cole Custer way down in 20th. You got Almirola and Briscoe, which Briscoe being a rookie, there's not a lot of pressure on him. But I think we definitely expected a lot of them to perform much better. And Zach, you were saying earlier too with the Xfinity Series, almost like how SHR's just for some reason just not showing up these first 5 races. Junior Motorsports, kind of the same deal, right?
The exact same deal. If not, it's even worse. I mean, they have 4 cars right now and 9 DNFs through 5 races. And this team has usually been known to have a lot of DNFs. I know Allgaier had 9 last year, or I think 8. And Daniel Hemrick, who drove their car, he had 7, even on a part-time basis. So it's something that the team's always had issues with, but through 5 races to have as many crashed up cars. And this weekend they had some mechanical issues with Braxton, and Michael Annett dropped out. Allgaier had a hell of a run, and he really needed it. And he ended up hitting the wall late, running for the win. So he didn't get, a great finish. And Josh Berry, who's actually been their best, when it comes to finishing, he's been their best car. He's the only driver to have multiple top 10s through 5 races, which is insane. He's got 2 and everyone else has 1. It's been really tough, really expensive on Dale Jr. and that whole team, I'm sure. That they have the speed. Allgaier could have easily won this race. He's so strong at Phoenix, and We know what's happened to Braxton pretty much all year. I mean, just Homestead was just unbelievable, and he just can't seem to catch a break. He had another strong run going this weekend, but out comes the ghost outside the back of the car, and he was done. And it's really hard to say how this stuff comes about, how it goes away, but similar to Stewart-Haas, I just feel like it's just stuff that happens in the sport sometimes. You just get on bad runs, and I mean, with SHR, I feel like they've just been slow. Like with JRM, I feel like it's stuff that happens. You know, like Braxton would have won. Allgaier would have at least finished second this past week.
Mm-hmm.
It's just crashes and like mechanical issues. And sure, Stewart-Haas are having those issues too, but they're also just not running well. We mentioned Harvick at one of his best tracks that he's been pretty slow, not slow, but just struggled at lately. He kind of got to the top 10 and just stopped, you know. And Briscoe, who's a rookie, and Custer and Almirola, who had an issue, still came back for a decent run, but that's all we're seeing, just decent runs, and that's really hard to find with a team like that usually.
Well, you know, I could say this, Stewart-Haas, obviously, they had the problem of being slow. You mentioned who might have to worry over there. I'm thinking Eric Almirola probably has the most to worry about of anybody at SHR. Going over to the JRM guys, you know, it's kind of like this. They are out there and they're fast, but they're running into stuff. I'm thinking like the Monday morning meeting or the Tuesday morning meeting they have, you know, where Dale Jr. comes in and says, hey, what have I told you all about wrecking all the cars? to stop wrecking all the cars.
Yeah,
you know, I'm thinking it's kind of like that.
And that's the thing. Like I feel like for the Xfinity series, obviously for the Truck series, like you have, you know, Haley Deegan, for example, she's just getting track time. She's just getting seat time, right?
Making her fourth start this week in Atlanta.
Yeah, and then you go up to the Xfinity series. I feel like since, you know, those races are longer, they're a bit closer to the length of a Cup race, you know, a bit more competitive where more cars are competing for a win and stuff like that. It's just learning how to survive the race, learning how do you get in all the laps. And you go to that old phrase, right? In order to finish first, you must first finish. And I think that's just what JRM really needs to start shifting their focus on, because go back to the race Braxton should have won at Homestead, right? Why is he up on the wall with the 9.5 second lead with 2 laps to go? Why isn't his spotter saying, hey, get down to the bottom, just ride it safe, let's just get to the checkered flag? You know, that would have never happened.
You know, I have to defend him a little bit on that, because look at this. You don't know where his car handles. You know, he might have been down on the bottom. He might not have been able to even hold the car down on the track. That's a crazy track. It's a great racing track. And sometimes if you're set up for the top, you try to go to the bottom. We've seen cars completely spin out on their own and just like put a sail, you know, put a parachute out behind him. And he probably is thinking, hey, I've got this. I'm just going to cruise. And boom, he gets in a wreck. You know, that car, they blew a tire and came up the track. I mean, it wasn't his fault. It's just circumstances, you know? So, I mean, that car doesn't blow a tire. Noah doesn't get into him. All's good.
Yep. No, hindsight's 20/20 all the time. But I think it's just a way to, you know, start a conversation over there at the shop, because they've got to figure out how to finish these races.
But what if Noah's down on the bottom of the track and his car's hard to handle? The other car blows a tire, kind of cuts down, touches his front, and Noah still goes around. You don't know.
Yep.
It sucks. And I'm sure he beat himself up. I know Noah. But you know, I got to go with where the car was running. I think the spotter probably should have said, hey, you've got a car, you know, you got cars here, 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 and here, back or down, whatever. But at the end of the day, there was no way to get out of the way for that wreck. But still, it sucks. And they are tearing up a lot of stuff over there.
Yep.
Let's see. We got, for you actually been doing like work with two wheels this past weekend.
Yeah, hopped on the Zoom call. Not usually able to make those, so that was fun to hop on and see everybody again with Supercross. But they're out in Arlington. We were supposed to be out there in person, so hopefully we'll be able to make the Utah races at the end of this year.
I got busy. I couldn't make it. I was going to go up there Saturday, and I got slammed.
No worries. Sean and everyone's fully understanding, so they're a good group of guys, so hopefully we can see them out in Utah at the end of this year. starting with the 250s, Arlington had 2 races already. They have the third one this Saturday. For 250s, we have 2 back-to-back first-time winners. The Arlington 1 being won by Seth Haymaker, and then Arlington 2 being won by older brother Hunter Lawrence. So he actually gets to
They have different names?
Yes, they have different names. Hunter and Jet. Hunter is 21, I think.
Okay.
And then Jet is 17, so they're about 4 years
So
apart.
they'd be half brothers then.
Oh my gosh. No, they're full blood brothers. My goodness.
Are their
All right.
last names different? They have the same last name, right?
They have the same last name. Hunter Lawrence,
you said-
Jet Lawrence.
Oh, I thought you said Haymaker won.
Yeah, Seth Haymaker won Arlington 1. He's not one of their brothers. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's start this over.
name.
I'm confused.
He's still thinking about cutting Kyle Busch. He can't.
Yeah, he's still thinking of a
no
Bushy
more brothers.
McBush race.
Don't edit this shit out because this is awesome.
All right, let's start over. Seth Haymaker, who is not related to the Lawrences because he is nowhere near from Australia, wins Arlington 1. Hunter
Okay.
Lawrence, who is the older brother of Jet Lawrence, wins Arlington 2. Both of those guys won their first race back-to-back. Jet Lawrence earlier this year won his first race of his career back in Houston. I believe Houston 2, Houston 3. So he
I was there.
Now, for Jet, he won in his 8th career start in the 250 class. Hunter won in his 6th career start, so Hunter gets a little bit of bragging rights on that. And Cameron McAdoo, who was the points leader, was caught cutting the track after a crash in the whoops, cut the next corner and the straightaway that shoots across the grid start.
Whoops.
And loses 2 spots and
Whoops.
2 points. And now instead of being up by 1 point, he's down by 1 point. And the red plate goes over to Hunter Lawrence, and he beats his younger brother to a red plate as well. This is going to be exciting because no one really knew how Hunter was going to be after his injuries. Same thing with Jet after his crash earlier this year, but both seem to be 100% now. This is going to be exciting because the showdown at the end of the year combines the West and the East divisions in one race. So imagine in the Cup Series, if you have ARCA West and ARCA East back in the day, imagine having one race at the end of the year where you combine both of those together in one race, and that's kind of your showdown. The 250 class does exactly that. So this is going to be interesting to see Hunter and Jet go heads up because a couple of us asked Hunter, what's it going to be like racing with your younger brother? If you got to pass him for the win. Hunter said I'd clean his clock for that main event win. So it's going to be fun to watch for sure. And then for the 450 class, Cooper Webb sweeping both Arlington 1, Arlington 2. He's going to look for the trifecta out there in Arlington. We know Roxon did that earlier this year in Indianapolis, but Roxon for some reason just kind of hit a slump this mid-season, and now he is 12 points back from Cooper Webb in that championship hunt. He was leading for a majority of the season, just for some reason hasn't been able to get good finishes, good starts, just kind of had the poor end of the stick on a lot of that stuff. Really, Arlington 1, even in his own words too, was really his only poor race where he just for some reason just didn't show up that day. Still finished 5th or 6th, so not as terrible as some of the other guys, but he's definitely got to find something. I actually have an article up on kickingethetires.net, so go check that out, and you'll be able to hear straight from what Ken Roxon has said on what he needs to do to win this 2021 450 Supercross Championship.
I want to point out that article also was featured and page 1 on Google. The SEO guy, me, should get a raise. You just do the website. I do all the SEO stuff.
I did my SEO. You're welcome.
Oh, you did your SEO on that one?
I did all of the SEOs.
Oh, okay.
Did you see?
I thought that's what I was
my brother
doing.
posted on that too.
What am I paying for then?
So I post that screenshot on Facebook just for my friends. I don't brag out on Twitter or anything like that. I'm not that kind of person.
I'm bragging on you.
So I post that on Facebook, and Jerry comments on it like, "Oh, we need to give that SEO guy a raise." And so my brother chimes in. He goes, oh, who owns the website? And I go, this guy, Jerry Jordan. And he goes, oh, who's the SEO guy? I'm like, well, I help with the website and do some of the SEO. Oh, so is he going to give you a raise? No.
No,
Nice.
it's not. But I'm going to Vegas for the next race.
Oh, yeah. Are you kicking me out there too? All right. But that's Supercross. It's going to be interesting. 6 races left. We'll see if Roxon can catch up to Webb. And definitely keep an eye on this Lawrence family.
I want to tell people what the whoops are. Because if they're not Supercross fans or they don't watch it all the time, the whoops are these things. They're like...
Wait, do that again?
Oh, perfect.
I'm looking at my side monitor here, and those are not whoops. What is that?
The bouncy things.
The bouncy things. Oh my!
Are the whoops this?
Yeah.
The whoops are this.
I mean, you go right over them, but
They're bouncy as hell.
I'm sorry, this is too funny. Jerry, next time you go to the track, ask them if you can walk up to the whoops. They're not little things like this. Those things are like a good anywhere from 5 to 8 feet tall. Those things are serious business.
I get it, but, they go over half of them.
The bouncy things. Oh my gosh. Now we're part of a Cirque du Soleil concert or something like that with trampolines all over the track.
Hey. I've seen some guys wish there was a trampoline underneath them when they went down.
Oh my gosh. Well, talk about some wild stuff and things coming out of the blue. Jerry, before we talk about Atlanta predictions, apparently NASCAR is going to team up with some local services and some government services and have COVID dogs at Atlanta.
Who let the dogs out?
Who?
Zach. Yes, this weekend NASCAR is unleashing the dogs. The COVID detection dogs will be on hand at Atlanta Motor Speedway to detect if you have COVID. It's only for people that are going to the infields, my understanding. But basically the way this works is you'll go through screening and then select people will be secondarily asked to, go play with the dogs. Not exactly the dogs will just walk around you, but it's kind of like drug dogs from my understanding of this concept. And if they sniff COVID on you, then you get to go to the NASCAR doctor and then you get further examination, probably includes a 15-minute rapid test to see if you have COVID. Don't ask me how. I don't know how this works. But that is what NASCAR is deploying at Atlanta Motor Speedway. So they are unleashing the COVID detection dogs. Look, if this works, great. If it gets me closer to the garage where I can go and talk to drivers and crew and stuff like that, fine.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, we've got millions and millions of people have gotten vaccines. There's another subsect that's already gotten the virus and gotten over it. So, this is going to get behind us at some point, probably more rapidly than we ever expected. So, I applaud NASCAR for their efforts, but it definitely is this was a new one on me. COVID detection dogs being used at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Think about this. Think about if you're a driver and you get, barked at, and then you have to go, see the NASCAR doctor, and then you have to sit out because you tested positive and you didn't even know. You had no symptoms. This could have serious ramifications on the outcome of the race this weekend at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Well, I hope not.
Zach, you're going to be there. You're going to be at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Are you going to go through COVID detection dog training?
I don't think so. I thought it was going into it was like necessary personnel. They use some word. It's like
yes, it's infield stuff. We don't have access to the infield. You actually have better access than I do this weekend. I will be out shooting photos at Atlanta Motor Speedway. You will be taking my place in the air-conditioned comfort of the luxurious Atlanta press box, and I am somewhat jealous.
I haven't been in a press box since the night race at Bristol last September.
Well,
All
I
races
have
I've
never
been
been
to.
in the Atlanta press box during a Cup race. I've been in during other races, but not during a Cup race. So you'll be one up on me. And then next week, I will be in the press box at Bristol Motor Speedway. So Matt Corson will be on the track, and he's in the air right now, flying back from Dallas to Nashville after seeing his grandparents. For those who are wondering where Matt Corson is at. Seth, obviously not on the show tonight. Our condolences out for him and his family. For those that don't know, Seth's mother passed away last week, and he has been on hiatus, but he will be back. I talked to him tonight. He's doing better, and we love him and we care about him. And I told him to take all the time he needs. So we will extend all our best to him.
Although
so,
if you know Seth's mom, she kept saying, "Don't you dare take too much time off. Get back out there and."
Oh, I know. You know, he told me that. He's like, she would be mad at me if I stay gone too long. So
yep.
We want you back, Seth. And Christian Coley going to come back next week with an ARCA report update for us. Sarah up in New Hampshire is studying because she's like in her last semester of college, and I told her college is more important than kicking. So you take care of that. And then Summer has a cat, a dog, a child, and herself. Well, her child is actually her husband, but that's a whole different story. He just acts like a child. But she is. She'll probably be popping in here before too long as well. So the whole staff will be coming in and out over the next few weeks. But for us, we have to give our predictions for this weekend, Zach. And what are yours going into Atlanta Motor Speedway, since you'll be in the posh press box?
Well, I can't wait to see the track, first of all. I went to Atlanta twice last year. I didn't actually get to see the track myself. First was when the sport got shut down exactly a year ago. I think it was the 13th of March last year. And then I came back in June or July, whenever, but I was out in the media staging area outside the grandstand. So finally going to be able to see that beautiful track again. And a nice triple header weekend, a double header on Saturday with the Trucks and Xfinity Series. They've been doing that for a couple years now. For my picks for the Truck Series, I'm going to start with Austin Hill. He had that race won last year. It's his home track, and I feel like one of the best runs he's had came in that race last year. Late race caution, ended up losing it, came home second. So I think he put in a good run last time out in Vegas, so I think he's going to win on another mile and a half. For Xfinity, I'm going to go with Allmendinger. He's definitely been on a hot streak lately, just a couple weeks removed from his Vegas win. Got a top 5 last week at Phoenix, even though it wasn't his best race. He won Atlanta last year, which was his first mile and a half win. So he'll go back. But I do want to focus on Truex a little bit because it's his first Xfinity start. In 11 years, he'll be with JGR in that number 54, which has been on fire this year with Ty Gibbs running it. And then for the Cup Series, I'm going to go with Denny Hamlin. He's a 3-time winner there. He's won 2 of the last 5. He's led over 600 laps, which is quite incredible for a track that size. And he's been off to an incredible start this year. He hasn't won yet, which is surprising, but he's been super close. More weeks than not. So I'm going to go with Austin Hill, AJ Allmendinger, and Denny Hamlin.
Seth, Justin, what about you?
So for trucks, again, Kyle Busch is in the field. I gotta pick him. You can't go against Kyle Busch at a track like Atlanta too. Although, John Hunter Nemechek may, take it to the boss again. Who knows? So, but my pick's got to be Kyle Busch. Every time he's in the field, it feels like everyone's just racing for second. Which in that case, last time they pretty much were, right? You have John Hunter Nemechek doing everything he can to hold him off, and everyone else is at that point now battling for third. So, Kyle Busch is gonna take the checker flag in the Truck Series for the FR8 Auctions 200 is the name of that race, apparently.
Freight auctions.
Freight, yeah.
Oh, freight. Oh, okay. I see the play on words. So another Bushy McBush race. Okay. I see. All right. For Xfinity, gosh, I'm gonna draw a deep one out of the hat, and I'm gonna go with Jeb Burton in the number 10 machine. I think Jeb Burton's gonna find his way around Austin Cindric and win at Atlanta Motor Speedway. It looks like, I think this is the qualifying, so Jeb Burton is going to start second. Yeah, so this is not the entry list, so this is actual qualifying. Jeb Burton will start second, Austin Cindric on pole, then Allmendinger. Brandon Brown, shout out for him for finishing third at Phoenix, by the way, his best career finish, but Brandon Brown is going to be starting in fourth, so that's a pretty cool thing for him. But yeah, Jeb Burton is going to be my pick for Xfinity. I just feel Xfinity is going to have one of those drivers that you don't really think is going to be competing for a win, go up there and steal a win out of Atlanta. You know, for Cup Series, Harvick led, he dominated this race last year, but I just can't pick him. And right now, Hendrick Motorsports is just on fire with their mile-and-a-half program. Well, let me erase that. Let me take a step back. Hendrick Motorsports is on fire, period. So I feel like this is going to be a race for Chase Elliott. He led, I believe, the second or third most laps last year at Atlanta. And just a couple mistakes on pit road, just like Larson at Phoenix, kept him from getting back up at the front and trying to challenge Harvick for that win. So this is going to be a race where Chase Elliott's going to take the win, your 2020 champion, your reigning champion for the NASCAR Cup Series. He's going to get his first win of the 2021 season to get that fancy little checkered flag sticker on the side of his car. So those are my picks. I've got trucks for Kyle Busch. For Xfinity, I've got Jeb Burton. And then for the Cup Series, Chase Elliott.
I'm going to do mine in reverse order. And I am going to pick Brad Keselowski in the Cup Series because I just don't think Harvick can get it done. And let me tell you something. If Harvick can't get it done this weekend, they got big problems for the rest of the season because Harvick dominates Phoenix and he dominates Atlanta, and they can't do either. And that says they've got major issues at Stewart-Haas Racing, and they need to look at where they're going to go from there, because I do not see how they could keep it all together. I mean, wow.
Yeah.
If he doesn't at least get a top 3 finish here this weekend, he needs to win. But yeah, I'm going with Brad Keselowski. I think he'll pull off the win. He's kind of got a chip on his shoulder, and I tend to like drivers that have chips on their shoulders. So we're gonna go with that. As far as Xfinity, man, that's a tough one. God, you picked Allmendinger, so.
And then I picked Jeb Burton.
No, I'm talking to Zach. He picked Allmendinger. I know you picked Jeb Burton. It shocked the hell out of me.
Pick the other car. Pick Justin Haley.
I want to.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think of that.
But I'm going to go with Allgaier.
Yeah.
I think the curse of JRM is over. And he'll pull it off this weekend. I like Allgaier. Now, my pick for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series.
I already know your pick.
I have 2.
Hey, that's cheating.
I have 2. And there's no way that y'all could have guessed who I would have picked.
Norm Bennett.
Bill Lester. The 2 oldest guys in the
Zach
field.
picked Bill. That's exactly who I picked, was Bill Lester. Because I did it in reverse order, huh, Zach? That's why.
Yeah.
I think, making his 143rd start in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. Bill Lester is my pick in a Dave Gillen Racing DJR truck, the number 17 truck, to go out and get the win, because that truck can actually get there. Bill Lester's got the talent to actually do it. My other pick was going to be Haley Deegan, because that would just be another really cool storyline. So you either got Bill Lester or Haley Deegan, going out there and getting a win. But I'm going to go with Bill Lester, guy with experience, a guy who he's going to take care of the equipment.
Yep.
Going to finish first. You got to first finish, and that's who I'm going to go with. So yeah, Zach, I'm surprised you actually did get it. Good for you. You can read my mind.
What's his best finish since 2008 in the Truck Series?
Fifth.
It's 0.
Since 2008. Yeah, since 2008 is 0 because he hadn't raced since 2008. I'm talking about his best finish is, I think he finished 5th in his best ever finish. He's been on pole 3 or 4 times, I believe, in his career.
3. Yep.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, he has two finishes in 5th. He started on pole in one of those races at Kansas. But, talking about his experience at Atlanta, one of the things I remember, and this was back when I was a teenager still in high school, was his start at Atlanta in the number 23 waste management car. That car was like one of the tier 5 cars, didn't have a lot of technology behind it. It was just kind of built together by a lower funded team. And you could even hear from all the different reporters that they weren't expecting him to make the race because that was back in the day where you had to qualify on time.
Right. There were no provisionals or owner provisionals and all that stuff.
Right. And then, he's going around and they're talking about, he's a little too high. Oh, he got out of the gas too much, stuff like that. But I'm sitting there, I'm like, no, you got to let the car float up a bit. When it doesn't have that tech, you got to let the car float up. He's doing it right. And he comes around that 4th turn, comes across the line, and it just shocks everybody. Like he straight up puts like a 20th or 25th place time, almost instantly locking himself in the show. It was unbelievable. So cool little short documentary on NASCAR.com if you're interested. Bill Lester, a great guy. He was fun to watch back in the day. So cool to see him back out on the track.
I don't know if you know this or not, but there's a lot of negative Nancy's in the NASCAR media.
Oh, I'm sure.
Does that mean
there's a
lot of?
I'll keep my mouth shut.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. And yes, there are some people who I don't know why they cover this sport because they seem so damn miserable every time they're at the racetrack. Yeah. And I'm sorry. To me, NASCAR frustrates me sometimes, and some of the drivers frustrate me, and the rules frustrate me. But I can't think of a better business to be in and working and covering. I've covered hard news. I've covered, sports. I've covered all kinds of stuff. Auto racing, covering motorsports, has probably been the most fun thing that I've ever done, except for playing pool. That was something I really enjoyed, and I wrote for Reader's Digest years ago. To that note, before we close out, I want to say thank you to Larry Kurtz, who was the high bidder for the Jeanette Lee Legacy Fund charity 2-ticket auction that we did for Bristol Motor Speedway for next weekend. Larry from Phoenix bid on the tickets. He was like, look, I'm going to have to buy tickets anyway. I'm going to the race. I wanted to do something good to help out. Larry was high bidder at $898, and I want to thank Wes for making all of it possible by donating. And on Twitter, that is board enough to. Wes Davidson's a good friend of ours and a big fan. So thanks to him for donating the tickets. Thanks to Larry for making it happen. And all of that money was donated earlier this week. I tweeted out the link and everything on the Jeanette Lee page. So thanks everybody for making that a reality. That's all I've got for this week. Zach, you got something you want to close out with?
Let's go racing in Atlanta. I'm ready to see the track again. It's going to be cool to have some photos coming in from Jerry, and I'm going to get back on the horn and start writing some articles again. So I look forward to that.
And Justin, what about you, bro?
Just looking forward to Arlington 3, seeing how the Supercross season ends out, and I guess trying to see over the next several weeks if Stewart-Haas can figure something out and get this season turned around.
Yeah, they definitely have a big hole to dig out of and figure out what's making their cars go so slow. Again, all the best to Seth and his family on the loss of the matriarch of the Eggert family there, living in Mooresville, North Carolina. They have roots, deep roots in the Jewish community, and we wish them all the best. So our love and condolences and gratitude for all of them. We want to share that. That's going to do it here for us on Kicking the Tires. We appreciate you tuning in. Be sure to like and follow and subscribe and do everything you need to do. And we'll be back next week.